future is near. More access, more everyone, more everything.
September 18th, 2019, show number 30.
This is history begun. This is the XFL.
What is up, my friends, and welcome to another edition of the XFL Weekend Review. I am your host, The Mark, and on this week's show, Ryan Mallett arrested for DWI, XFL potentially offering sideline field seating, and so much more. So how do you get in touch with the show? You email podcast@xflnewshub.com with your MP3s or thoughts, or you can call 888-430-7692, extension 3. We have our first phone caller this week. Remember, cutoff time is 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. That's 888-430-7692, extension 3 to be part of the podcast. And remember to leave us a review on Apple Podcast, and we'll read it on the show. Plus, we have the question of the week and so much more. Before we get into the show, let's read our review on Apple Podcasts. This is exciting. Okay, it's from Gooktastic, and he gives us a 1 star. Aw, so nice. He said, you need to do your work. Okay. Also, you need to have someone edit you website typos and errors, scrub, listen back to your podcast because you stumble on words, aka botch. Don't blame on your editor. Podcast needs to be longer. 1:30 hour to 2 hours. That was one sentence. Starting with the next one. You have a speech problem. You need to come out about it. If you don't, I will go down to Texas, take my size 69 boot, turn that sumbuck sideways and stick it up your candy behind and drop you like a stack of dimes at WrestleMania 69. Dude, that was all 2 sentences from Gooktastic, who says that I can't edit and my website typos and error, etc., etc., etc. This is, my friends, this is just a troll. It doesn't bother me. And the truth is, it gave me a thought. See, I'm somebody, what they call a growth mindset. Now, you have people like Gooktastic, who's probably somebody with a very fixed mindset. And that means everything is everybody else's fault. Never takes responsibility for his own actions, or her. We don't know who it is. You know, one of these people that blames everybody but doesn't take responsibility themselves. Now, I've heard this before. It could be the same person, that I stumble on my words and this and that and the other thing. I'm just reading commentary that's on the website and just doing my thing. But I can always improve, and I have a good mindset about it all. I'm always a person of the growth mindset. Take something that's a negative, how can we spin it into a positive and go from there? I always love feedback, so you can message me. You can hit me up on the Twitters, Instagram, wherever, and give me your feedback on how to make the show better. Or email us at podcast@xflnewshub.com. Always interested in taking criticism. I have people message me all the time, including people from the XFL. Hey, this is wrong. This is right. Clean this up. This was spelt wrong. I remember when I came out and had Laundry Jones as one of my articles. And I was like, whoops, somebody pointed it out. I fixed it. No big deal. Anyway. So it gave me a thought. We should have a contest when it comes to the Apple Podcast iTunes reviews. So starting after Gooktastic, because he can't play or she can't play, if you leave us a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever the heck it's called, you will be entered into win an XFL sweatshirt. That's right. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, take a screenshot of it and email it to us so we know who is who. That's all very simple. Leave us a review, screenshot it, send it an email at podcast@xflnewshub.com. We will pick a winner after the first show after the XFL draft. We don't know when that is. That's going to be sometime in mid-October. So you have from now until mid-October to leave us a review on iTunes, and we will pick somebody out randomly. What I usually do is I write down the people's names in a hat, and I have one of my daughters or my wife pick the name out of a hat, and that's who the person is. And that's how we do it. So if you're interested and you want to win an XFL sweatshirt, no, I'm not talking about a t-shirt. I'm talking about a sweatshirt, one of them $50 jobs. You want one? You got to leave us a review on iTunes, Apple Podcast. Leave us a review, and everybody after Gooktastic is entered to win. Now, isn't that nice? Anyway, so remember to leave us a review, our first little contest. That'll be a lot of fun. Also, remember, I'm on Dallas Radio, 1160 AM KBDT Sports Day with John Clemens, Saturdays and Sundays. This week, he has Bob Stoops, Dallas Renegades head coach. So you can be sure you want to check out that. Question of the week: which two cities would you add to the XFL in 2021? Lots and lots of reaction to that question. We will tell you about our other question of the week at the midpoint of the show. So, without further ado, folks, let's just get into the week that was the XFL. Former New England Patriots quarterback Ryan Mallett was arrested last week on suspicion of DWI. Mallett recently accepted an XFL commissioner invite to be part of the XFL draft in mid-October. According to a report by 40-29 News, the former Arkansas quarterback was arrested on suspicion of DWI in Springdale, Arkansas last Tuesday night. In the report, Lieutenant Jeff Taylor with the Springfield Police said, quote, officers responded to an accident near the intersection of New Hope and 112 around 6:30 p.m. Mallett was taken into custody just before 7 p.m. According to bestofarkansassports.com, Mallett had a blood alcohol concentration of 0.08. Mallett was part of the XFL Summer Showcase in Tampa Bay earlier this summer. Many had Mallett as a possible Tier 1 franchise quarterback in the XFL. The arrest and his past having some personal issues probably just ended that. Mallett played for Michigan in 2007, then at the University of Arkansas from 2008 to 2010. He was drafted in the third round of the 2011 NFL Draft by the Patriots. He also played for the Houston Texans and Baltimore Ravens. Ryan, it looks like you definitely lost your shot at being a Tier 1 franchise QB. The question is Mallett part of the October XFL Draft? Elevate Sports Ventures Chief Executive Al Guido spoke at the Venues Now conference in New York last week. He revealed some innovative ways the XFL will bring the game fan experience to fans. Guido said the XFL is considering putting several premium seats on the sidelines to give fans a whole new perspective of the game. In effect, basically reimagining the game. But in this time, it's on the sidelines. Guido did not reveal how much these tickets would cost or where precisely on the field they would be located. He reiterated that fans, of course, would be safe in those seats. I mentioned this to my wife, and the first thing out of her mouth is that was going to be safe. According to him, they will be. Now, where they're placed, how that works, we don't know. Elevate Sports Ventures is a joint venture of Ticketmaster, Live Nation, the San Francisco 49ers, Harris Blitzer Sports and Entertainment, and the Oakview Group. Remember back a little while ago, the XFL signed a 2-year deal with Elevate to handle selling season ticket packages and premium seats for the 2020 XFL season. Love the innovative idea of having seats on the field. I would totally have a chance to have one of those things, especially the only way I could consider they're thinking of it in the same vein is the NBA being sitting next to the coach. Now, granted, you can't sit on the bench with the players, but sitting behind the bench could be a great, not only entertaining for watching the football games, but listening to the players talk as well. According to a statement by the Texas A&M University Police, the uniform once belonging to star quarterback Johnny Manziel was stolen from the university. All right, XFL Army, which one of you jabronis took it? The university's police department posted a notice via Twitter last week asking for the public's help. We have a picture of the potential suspect on XFLNewsHub.com. According to ESPN, the uniform was stolen from the Aggies Hall of Champions. The former Aggie star's uniform is valued around $1,000. Here's what the ESPN report said. Police said a man entered the Hall of Champions on the evening of August 26 and undressed a mannequin that sported Manziel's uniform and took it. Police said it didn't appear he forced his way into the building, though the man in the photo that we mentioned earlier was wearing Texas A&M athletic gear. An athletic department spokesman confirmed to ESPN that he is not a student athlete at the school. It could still be an XFL Army person. I wouldn't be surprised. Manziel was the first freshman in college football history to win a Heisman Trophy. His pro career didn't go so well with stops in the NFL, CFL, and AAF. Manziel could potentially be a Tier 1 quarterback in the XFL. Houston Roughnecks head coach June Jones has spoken highly of the former Aggie star in the past. Remember, the XFL draft is set to take place mid-October. And remember, the only Tier 1 QB signed so far is former Pittsburgh Steeler and Oklahoma Sooner Landry Jones. John Consoli of TVNewscheck.com recently spoke with several ad-buying executives about their thoughts on the new XFL coming in 2020. Their reaction is optimistic about the league's chances, but basically everything comes down to ratings. Quote, the XFL has a good chance to become a small, viable opportunity for clients based on its WWE ownership backing, one guy, Adam Schwartz, said. He goes on to say, I don't think the XFL will ever become the NFL, but if the product is strong, it will get viewers to watch and perhaps to gamble on the games, and that will draw more viewer interest. We've talked about gambling, we've talked about fantasy football, but we've also talked about how do you do fantasy football with only 8 teams and 8 quarterbacks. Neil Vendetti, president of investment at Zenith USA, also said, quote, with the amount of interest in the NFL only increasing, there is potentially an opportunity for the XFL. The report goes on to say that TV ad buying for XFL games could start as early as mid-October. After the XFL drafts, everything is going to start cranking up. After the XFL draft, media buyers will take a look at the names on XFL rosters and fan interest in determining how much they might be willing to spend on this unproven league. In the report, it also points out that Fox, one of the XFL's broadcast partners, will be televising this year's Super Bowl, as we remember. That game will take place February 2nd at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida, of course, 1 week before the kickoff of the XFL season. But listen to this. I didn't think of this. Quote, Fox is airing the Super Bowl this year, and sources within Fox say the network will more than likely promote the XFL during the game. That is huge, my friends. To have commercials running on the Super Bowl for the XFL would be amazing. And also for XFL News Hub. I am totally going to sit and be hanging out. I mean, I'm already celebrating the Super Bowl and the beginning of the XFL season all on the same night. As the NFL closes, the XFL starts up. I'm going to be on my phone, and the minute they mention XFL, I'm checking that Google Analytics and seeing this site just blow up as people type in XFL, because we are the number one XFL news site in all of the world. Just kind of pointing that out. I go on. Oh, let's go on. That could be a tremendous boost for the league, with the nation, of course, watching the big game. I'm telling you, it'll be huge. Now, Super Bowl of last year was broadcast on CBS, who, of course, was the primary broadcast partner for the AAF. You guys remember them. CBS Sports carried the 2 inaugural AAF games and hardly mentioned the startup league in their Super Bowl telecast. And of course, we know what happened with the AAF. They ran out of money and are gone. So it looks like broadcast partners and ad executives are not seeing the same fate that the AAF had with the XFL. And I totally agree. I think this is really exciting. And to have some ads run, and especially if it's not just like the little ticker at the bottom where it's like XFL, watch it. If they do a full-blown commercial or two, they're going to do, you'd think they were going to run SmackDown promos, and they've got to be running a couple XFL ones. And if they have a couple good videos like they did with the team names, that is going to get people really excited. All right, we'll be back after this commercial break with your phone calls, messages, answer to the questions, of course, next week's question, and so much more. Stay tuned, my friends. What's up, XFL Army? If you're a fan of the XFL News Hub and you have a telephone, which I know all of you do because you're sitting there playing on your phones all the time, then why not download the XFL News Hub app? That's right, it's on iTunes. It's on Android. We have an Android version and an iPhone version of the XFL News Hub app. So what do you get? You get the latest news from XFL News Hub, the premier source of XFL news in the universe. Plus, you get push notifications when we have breaking news. You will be the first to know. You can leave a comment on some of the news right from your phone. Plus, you get this podcast on your phone as well. Remember, you can leave us reviews on the Google Play Store or iTunes. It links to other social media, our other social media accounts, and so much more. Be in the know. I know you're on your phones. People are on their phones all the time. They never get off their phones. So why not just download the XFL News Hub app on your Android or iPhone today? All you need to do is go to the Google Play Store or iTunes and just type in XFL News Hub. That's XFL News Hub. Download our app on your phone today. All right, we are back now. Our question for next week. This week we were like, which 2 cities would you add to the XFL in 2021? We're going to mix it up a little bit and watch the hate spread, just like Gooktastic tried to spread the hate of the XFL Week in Review podcast. So here it is. If there is one XFL city you could cut from the 8, which one would it be? That's right. If there was one city, we got Los Angeles, DC, Seattle, Tampa, Houston, St. Louis, New York, and Dallas. Don't make any friends on the XFL Army community because, frankly, you're going to upset somebody with one of your picks. Leave us that in the comments on our YouTube, which all you YouTubers out there that listen to the podcast on YouTube, there is a ton of you. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. I'm fairly certain you do, but I would appreciate it if you did. I keep forgetting to mention our friends on YouTube that listen to the show. Or you can leave us on social media or email us, podcast@XFL News Hub, with our question for next week. But this week, which 2 cities would you add to the XFL in 2021? I have a couple guesses, but we'll get on to the Twitters first on the social media. Shutdown Man says, I wonder how many is on Twitter. Says, I wonder how many XFL players have a rap sheet. Speaking of Ryan Mallett, I don't know. At XFL News Hub, hey Mark, are you gonna up? Oh, this is from Cena Rules Roman Drools, a WWE guy. Make sure you check out ProWrestlingNewsHub.com, by the way, our pro wrestling site, all dedicated to AEW, because frankly, we're a little over WWE right now. Hey, Mark, are you going to update the app to make it look more polished because it looks lit? The app was made in a basement. No, I don't think it was made in a basement. Maybe that's where Cena Rules Roman Drools lives at his mama's house. Relax, Mark. It's okay. Positive mindset. It was not made in a basement. And it's really good compared to anything else that's out there. But I thank you for the hate. Cena Rules Roman Drools. 808 Sports Fan says, at XFL News Hub, I am excited for spring football. First and foremost, having to wait 4 months for football instead of 6 is to me really great. As far as the league play, I'm anxious to see the next 3-tier extra point system and new overtime rules come into play. This is based on our man Sean, which we're going to try to get him on the podcast. Why are you excited for the XFL article he wrote this past week, which is a great one. Got a great response from all wrestling. XFL Army. Sean did another great job. So we're going to get him on the podcast too to talk XFL with all you jabronis. Richard Humphrey, one of our great Twitter followers. He says, me, I love football and to have it year round. Yeah. Plus, it a chance for players who didn't make in the NFL now have a fantastic chance to make a name for themselves in the XFL. That's what I'm totally excited about, is the opportunity to see these guys perform and make a name for themselves, because there's going to be guys and next year's NFL that are going to be our guys from the XFL, just like Tommy Maddox was and Rod Smart. He hate me. They're our guys. They will always be our guys in the XFL. And I'm so excited to see some of those guys make it into the NFL and be productive, because you will always be XFL guys. Just like once a Raider, always a Raider, once an XFL player, always an XFL player. And this is a different kind of thing, because as a fan of the XFL, this changes your approach to watching the NFL, because you might be like, if you have all the list of games and you're trying to figure out which one to watch, you might be like, oh, well, that guy that I liked in the XFL plays for the Miami Dolphins. Oh, cool. Well, I'm going to watch the Dolphins game because I want to see him, because that's our guy. That's our guy. Steve checking in. Honestly, too many reasons to list here. I guess number one is it's not the NFL. XFL 2020, bring the new breed. A lot of people are really tired of the NFL. Really fascinating. At America Guy, one, it's more good football. Two, a new XFL/New League. 3, see players that I liked in college that didn't get to make it in NFL that are still good players. 4, a new team to cheer for. Go Renegades! At America Guy, picking his squad. About our question from today, Missouri Sports, talking about some expansion teams, said San Diego and Oakland. Not bad there. Mickey J. Wind, working on another one of our articles that will be coming up this week, says none. Adding any team before they get a new TV deal where they get advertising money to is crazy. They will already be working at a loss the first few years until this is done. It's just a matter of mitigating enough to be viable when that contract comes up again. Now, that's a great point, because what you're going to do is wait, and when that TV deal is up, I believe it's a 2-year deal. Who knows? We don't really know the specifics of the deal, but let's say it's a 2-year deal. At that point, if you're doing good, adding another team could help with negotiations for the TV networks. The problem, it works now because you have 4 slots. So adding another team, you'd have to add another 2 teams. And how would that change the TV thing with the bye weeks? And that would make things a little more complex. So they'll keep it simple now, but he's got a good point. Steve also checks in. He says, while I agree with San Diego, Oakland, and perhaps San Francisco when the new stadium is done in Sacramento in a few years, a Northern California team definitely. I really agree with, he's talking about Mickey J. Wind. There should be no expansion for the first couple of years till the league is viable and stable. America Guy, San Antonio, El Paso in 2021. Then you could have Texas division with Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and El Paso. Interesting. Cardman says San Diego and San Antonio. Travis, the XFL might be over after those quarterback signings in the NFL. Well, there's still rumblings and breaking news about all that stuff right now, talking about signing the Tier 1 quarterbacks and them appearing and not appearing. David Cadmus says no expansion the first 3 or 4 years, relocation before expansion. You think they would relocate a team? Then STL Battlehawks fan 69 says move the Wildcats to San Diego. I don't think that'll be making very people happy. JD says Columbus and Cincinnati, and Mo the King. I say San Diego and Columbus. San Diego would definitely be a viable one because from all we've been hearing, the hottest merch team out there is your St. Louis Battlehawks. Fans are really excited about that franchise, and they are doing well as far as merch sales go. On to the Facebooks. Why are you excited about the XFL? Charlotte says, I'm sick of the NFL, and the league will make it more family-friendly and affordable for everyone. Good point there. Leon, I'm ready to play for the XFL. Oh, he's going to play in the tight end slot. Okay. Zach, because it's really adding all the parts that people like about football to begin with that are now starting to die out in college and the NFL. And not only are they re-adding them, but they are making them better than they originally were. Billy Joe says, hey, hell yeah, more football, less bull bleep. Get rid of pregame, halftime, replays. Just the game, kickoff to the final whistle, and that's it. Brad says, well, because we have football back in St. Louis and proving we do not need the NFL. Lots more comments on that. About Cardell Jones, Bennis, one of our top guys on Facebook, says, and now, of course, Cardell Jones signs to the Seattle Seahawks practice squad. Now that's how you end your hopes for Cardell Jones to be an XFL player. It's something to be sad about. When you really believe that this league will add this type of level of players, and this happens, you lose hope for something that's special. And Cardell Jones isn't a joke. He's a real player that deserves a starting spot on some team, at least the XFL QB Tier 1 spot in the league. I agree with that. About Ryan Mallett's arrest, Jamil says, well, his career ended before it started. Yikes. Zach, talking about cities and expansions, the 2 cities I would add is the XFL came to me without even really having to think about it are Oakland and San Diego. I have already talked about some of this, of the employees of the Battlehawks, and they agree with me that San Diego and Oakland, I'm telling you, the franchise, the success of St. Louis makes that makes so much sense. To move back where those XFL or NFL teams had left will do really well. Jake, Talking about the teams, which would you add? Madison, Wisconsin. Get the Packers. Why not add another team? Raul, San Antonio. Todd, Vegas and Denver. I live in Salt Lake, Utah, and would love to see a team here, but I'm sure there'd be large enough population. Vegas and Denver would be close to me to check out the games. Tommy, Harrisburg and Detroit. Anthony, Kentucky, Nebraska. Daniel, San Diego, Orlando. Ronnie, Birmingham and San Antonio. Birmingham, San Antonio. Birmingham, Atlanta. Birmingham, San Antonio. Boise and Wheeling. Boston and Hartford going up there. Chicago and Indianapolis, Detroit. Orlando, Portland, Rochester, New York. Oakland. Buffalo, Nashville. A lot of Oaklands, San Diego's, Birmingham, Detroit, Montreal, and Toronto. Luis throwing up the Canada sign. Lots more on that's on the Facebooks. Tons more on the Facebooks. On the Instagram, we'll give them some love. Put a team in Texas and call them the Texas Deadman. Okay. Sacramento Gold Rush. Put a team in Minnesota and call them the Advocates. San Diego, San Antonio, Birmingham, or Milwaukee, Chauncey Gilroy. Oh, that was 18-wheeler 661. Before that, Ryan Miller, 1078. Checking us in. J_AA_row, Atlanta. No, Atlanta is not a good sports town. Sorry. David Del Conte _L. Philadelphia and San Diego and Los Angeles. What? They have a team in Los Angeles. Canadian team, Copa J. Rad Rob, 79. Oklahoma has a great football history with high school and football. I'm sure it'd be a natural Texas rivalry. So I say Oklahoma City as one in the second. One I'd go with would be Birmingham. Let's see here. America Guy 1776, long-term XFL Texas Division, San Antonio, Dallas, El Paso, Houston, Southern Division, Tampa, Nashville, Baton Rouge, and Birmingham. North would be DC, New York, Boston, Columbus. Central, Oklahoma City, St. Louis, Denver, Milwaukee. West, Seattle, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Portland. Love it. Love the breakdown there. Thanks for checking in. On to the YouTubes. Donald, Memphis, and Atlanta are my picks for expansion. Keep the AAF names and legends. Express and legends. Mason's got Pittsburgh and Philly and Detroit. Some of those in there. Man on the Moon. I so hope that New Orleans XFL teams picks him up. Oh, talking about Manziel. Talking about Manziel, Jonathan Manziel. He says, I so hope that no XFL team picks him up. The XFL should have role models, not TMZ celebrities. He doesn't keep getting fired from one team after another for no reason. Let's have a first round of quarterbacks to be solid role models. I agree with that. That's important. Rodney's Pete says Cincinnati and North Carolina for expansion. And on our video about Andrew Luck retiring, we were a little late to the game on that one. That was a backed up in the queue of things to do. Kind of says he left for health reasons. Why would he play for the XFL? LOL. Totally. I don't know why people were jonesing over that one. All right, we hit all the social medias. Let's get to the emails. A draft recruit, missing tryouts, becoming an XFL player. Oh, Jim checking in says, rad rule. What if kicking team could intercept punts and or kicks? Kick would have to travel at least 30 yards, contact only permissible while trying to catch the ball, personal foul or hitting the receiver directly prior to the reception. If ball hits ground, it is dead on contact by kicking team, just like currently. What if a kicking team could intercept punts and or kicks? That would be kind of crazy. You'd have to be super fast. I mean, you could do that on punts, but then there's the halo rule, so I don't think that's quite going to happen. Somebody sending their resume to us, but we're not the XFL. All right, on to our first phone caller.
I love the XFL. It seems so energized already. I know it's going to be a great season, and I know we're going to want more. And in harmony with the teams that you think might be in the next city, I think Jacksonville and Columbus ought to be the first, even though I'm in South Georgia and would like an Atlanta team. I think also Philly, Detroit, Toronto, and definitely San Antonio on down the road. I know Texas is really serious about their football. Even Sandlot games, have 12 on each team. 11 on each team. Well, have a good one. Thank you. Bye.
Well, there you have it, our first phone caller, but he didn't leave us a name. So call us again. Remember, 888-430-7692. Just mention your name on there. But thanks for the phone call, our first phone call. I was like, man, maybe I should just put a phone number out there. Just make it easier for you guys. So you're talking about Jacksonville and Columbus. Jacksonville? I'm not sold on Jacksonville as a sports town. Now, I have a little thing in my heart for Jacksonville in that area, Palm Coast, and St. Augustine, all that kind of area down there. Maybe be moving down there one day. Just throwing that out there. Columbus, not a bad place. But you bring up another one that people have talked about, the Canada. Why not Canada? If Oliver Luck came to me and said, "Hey, the Mark, it is your call because you're so smart and you speak so well on your podcast and you write so eloquently on XFLnewshub.com. I need for you to figure out what teams we should expand. You have two options. Where are you going to expand them?" I'd probably stay out of Florida because I feel like Florida college football is great. Florida professional football isn't that great. Another team in Texas, I don't know about that. I would be like, let's stick one in Canada to really kind of tap into that market. They already have the CFL. I would assume that they would be interested in an XFL franchise, a different flavor of football. And the other one, I might have to look at one of the San Antonio, the Memphis Express, like one of the AAF teams. But then I would probably go San Diego, would most likely be where I think I would go next. Oakland had the Raiders and didn't have the Raiders, and they had them again. I don't know if who knows what the deal is, but I feel like San Diego would be a good place. I probably would stay away from Florida. You have Philly is a good market. Atlanta is not a good sports town, in my opinion. I probably would, to be a safe bet, I might go risky with Canada and then one of a former French, and I probably would go San Diego. Thanks for the phone call. Our final email, the number one emailer and the first tier one emailer. We need a tier one phone caller. But the tier one emailer, Nicholas checking in, he said, if I had the XFL, the first city I would look at is at San Diego. I had the pleasure of traveling there, and it was a beautiful city, and you can tell they missed football. That's the key. Just like St. Louis, I would hit San Diego first, Canada second, somewhere in Canada. The next city I would choose would be Orlando. It would be great for the XFL, was originally considering it. It would be a great choice as well. Again, I don't know how Florida football, and it goes back to the question. But thanks for the email, Nicholas, checking in. As always, your tier one emailer. Going back to our question for next week. If there was one XFL city that you could cut from the 8, which one would it be? I'm not going to make any friends here, but I would say Tampa. I just feel like Florida professional football, Florida professional sports don't do well. Seattle, I think, would be fine. Houston, St. Louis is great. New York will work. Dallas. DC is a big market. I'm a DC Defenders guy. That might be one. But again, DC's got a great market. You're talking Washington Capitals. You have the Baltimore Ravens and the Washington Redskins, both wildly popular in the area. So I don't think I would cut DC either. DC United does really well. The Wizards, I mean, I think the name is just dumb. Orioles are huge. Well, baseball, I mean, the Nats do well. So if you were to pull my, maybe, but DC is good too. But I think the one would be on my list, Tampa. So you're going to email me, podcast@xflnewshub.com, or you're going to call 888-430-7692, extension 3, with our question of the week. If there is one XFL city you could cut from the 8, which one would it be? Or you can call in just to have any other random thought. 2 minutes or 2 or 3 minutes you get. Make the phone call. We give instructions about all that when you call. So leave us a message on the phone calls. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Just look up XFL News Hub, plus our Android app on Google Play and the iPhone app on iTunes. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and we'll read it on the show. Not only will we read it, but you will be entered to win an XFL sweatshirt from your boys at xflnewshub.com. And the winner will be announced. We will announce the winner after the XFL draft. All you have to do is take a screenshot, fill out your thing, take a screenshot so we have your email, and we'll keep that in the side. And then we'll have my lovely wife pick the winner. All right? Simple and easy. For show notes, just go to xflnewshub.com/XFL-podcast. For all news and notes and everything that we've talked about on this show. And that's it for this week, friends. I'm telling you, I am working on a couple home run interviews that you guys will really like. We're lining them up and knocking them out. We got the draft. We got ticket information is coming real soon. And that's it for me, folks. And I will see you all. Mahalo to my homies, my friends in Hawaii. God bless all you out there, even the haters. I'll give you guys a little prayer tonight as well. God bless y'all, and I will see you all later.